It's time for the Bleed Lows Podcast with your hosts, Alonso and Juan, Alicia Del Valle, and the babyface gimmick in the sky, Roger.
It's down to the last four teams. BetOnline has been your tournament bracket headquarters all March long, and now that we're almost down to the finals, we've still got a lot more in store. MLB is here and NBA, NHL playoffs are around the corner. As always, BetOnline is the #1 source for your summer sports wagering. Head to BetOnline today to stay updated on all the action, and remember to use promo code BELIEVE, BLEAV, for your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline, the game starts here.
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the Bleed Lows Podcast. I'm Alicia Del Valle, and tonight we are joined with Cody Snavely, aka Canelo, and Jason Barquero. Thank you guys for joining me, and we have a very special, very lovely guest. Please welcome Alex Curry, her first time, a friend of the Carne Asada, Fox Sports Saturday host, Flippin bats with Verlander. You've been all over the world covering sports. Welcome to our show. It's so great to have you here, especially at such an exciting time in Los Angeles. My goodness. Where to start? I think we should just get right to your predictions, girl. I am so loving what you are selling, what you are dishing out for us Dodger fans, at least. So Here at the Bleed Lows Podcast, we cover Dodgers baseball. We cover the experience of going to the stadium. We also cover tacos, so be prepared. Okay?
All those things.
But so Alex Curry, welcome. You predicted on your shows that the Dodgers would win the World Series. Do you still stand by that prediction?
Oh yeah. I mean, how can you not? I mean, the Dodgers have been one of the best regular season teams for the last decade. Yes, there's one World Series in between there in 2020, but the issue they have is that continued postseason success. So with a handful of the additions that they added this year, obviously the biggest one being Shohei Ohtani, Yamamoto, Tyler Glasnow, I feel like they got enough pieces. Even Teoscar Hernandez, who is just under Mookie Betts right now, leading the home run race. I mean, they added the pieces that you need that you would think would get them over that playoff hump, because their biggest issue last year was the pitching. Obviously, you're not having Shohei Ohtani this year, but you have him next year. But you added Glasnow, Yamamoto, Bobby Miller looked like an ace. Like you have three really strong, who could be all considered aces in different organizations on your pitching staff right now. And that's what you need to be successful in the postseason. You need a 1-2-3 punch. And when you have more, all it does is make your depth chart deeper, and it feels like this is going to be, if it's not this year, next year, once Ohtani's back in the starting rotation as well. But I feel very confident and very strong about my World Series prediction.
Yes, I think Alex is saying put some money on it. You know, Believe, sponsored by BetOnline. Okay, guys, Cody, Jason, our guest, she brought up how deep the Dodgers run now. And Canelo, earlier, you brought up how Alex was she was there for the very first time Ohtani, started playing for MLB, right?
Yeah. So, I mean, just doing a little bit of digging, I saw that you were there covering the Angels when he made his debut. How different is it, now that we're like 6 years removed from that, and then now he's, I won't say officially in LA, but, being in the National League, being on a historic franchise like the Dodgers, where it seemed like it was just inevitably going to happen. It was kind of like the worst kept secret in baseball. But how would your perception of the Dodgers be now with Ohtani on the club? And then kind of just how Ohtani's grown from year 1 to now year 7.
Yeah. I mean, I was Angels sideline host for 10 years. So I was there for the beginning of Mike Trout, Albert Pujols, and then Shohei Ohtani. And when you see a star really step into that role for the first time, there's a lot of high expectations, right? Ohtani came into Major League Baseball injured. We knew he was going to need some type of injury, and he did. He had his Tommy John, and I think there was a lot of doubt, like, is he going to be as good as everyone thinks he is? And then, of course, right after he recovers, the year after Tommy John, is when he gets his first AL MVP. Now 2-time unanimous AL MVP, pitcher, hitter. There's just something you can tell when you spend every day with these guys, when you cover great players. And obviously my experience was one-on-one personal with the Angels, with a Mike Trout, with an Albert Pujols, and with a Shohei Ohtani. There's something that you can just tell. There's something different in them. They are, as simple as it sounds, they are the first ones there. They are the last ones to leave. They eat, sleep, breathe baseball. But on top of all of that, they're also having a lot of fun. They're having a great time. Like while they're there, you can tell this is what they were meant and born to do. They love the game. They elevate everybody around them and make them better as well. So I feel extremely fortunate to have watched just Ohtani not only grow within the game, but his personality. You have to remember too, these guys coming over from Japan, like it's a culture shock. It's a different language. The ball's a little different. The mound's a little different. Like everything is different. And to see someone have that kind of success, and you might say, oh, it's not that short of a time. It's a short amount of time considering he had Tommy John surgery in that window as well, to now have 2 MVPs. And yes, that was Anaheim. Now he is in LA, which is a completely different market. I was born and raised in LA. I grew up at Dodger Stadium. I like to say I got traded to the Angels. And I also have a very deep place in my heart for Halo Nation. Like I love both of these teams and organizations so much, which is hard for some people to digest. But there is a huge difference. There is a huge difference in the media coverage, in the branding, in the image, in what that franchise is. And you could see it immediately. I mean, before the season even started, he was sidelined at a Rams game, like having his jersey out. Like we're seeing him out and about more. We're seeing more personality. And I'm really excited to see like what his full potential can be now on a team and on a franchise like the Dodgers that are willing to do whatever it takes to win, because that's what he wants to do. This guy, like he is a 2-time unanimous MVP, has never played a playoff game in Major League Baseball. That's kind of crazy to wrap your head around.
Yeah. That is crazy. And it blows my mind that he's here. I know, Canelo, you said it was the best kept secret, but I mean, I was worried. I think a lot of Dodger fans were worried that he was not going to end up here. So Alex, Jason, Canelo, do you think that the Showtime so far has lived up to expectations or exceeded them? What do you guys think?
Canelo, do you want to take a stab at it first?
Yeah. I think he's lived up to it.
So obviously he's off to a little bit of a slow start offensively for Shohei Ohtani, right? Yes, he got his first home run last night, but through 9 games, he has his lowest home runs and RBI in his career. But you also have to remember he has Mookie Betts hitting in front of him, who is off to an insane start to the season, who is leading all of Major League Baseball in batting average, home run, hits, RBI, runs, walks. So he's not necessarily on base for Ohtani to drive him in. And then you also have to take into consideration, this wasn't a normal offseason for him. There was a lot of stuff going on. First of all, emotionally, right? This huge gambling scandal that's going on with his former interpreter, who was also like his best friend, like emotionally, that's a lot to handle. And then physically, he is coming off of the non-Tommy John surgery. So there's so much happening both mentally and physically for him. I don't think you have anything to worry about, Dodgers fans. Like, he is going to be just fine. He has had plenty of, quote, slow starts to a season. I mean, fun fact, his first MLB home run was on the exact same day that he had his Dodgers home run, is April 3rd, 2018. So this is nothing out of the norm. He is going to be just fine. Right. But yeah, he will live up to the hype. He will.
Yeah. Plenty of baseball left to play too, right? Like I think Dodger fans are freaking out. Yeah. Everybody, calmate, relax. Jason, I know you wanted to get in there. You're liking that how it's going so far?
Yeah, I think Alex said it right? The first week, maybe we expected a little bit more, but that's just goes with it. We're spoiled from what we've seen over the last several years. But I agree with what you said, Alex. I think we're going to be okay. I think hopefully he got some of those jitters out, and I to attribute a lot of what we didn't see probably to what was going on in the offseason. But I want to ask you, Alex, you spent a lot of time around these players, obviously, as a sideline reporter. What can we expect? What can the Dodger clubhouse expect from Shohei Ohtani as a as a partner, as another compadre in the clubhouse, if maybe you can share us a story of something that's very Shohei that we will love.
He's a goofball, like at the heart of it. Like he loves the game and he is always having fun. He was always doing jokester style things. And I've actually talked to a couple people who have been in the Dodgers clubhouse this first opening weekend. And you always try to find a silver lining in unfortunate situations, right? And with his former interpreter, Ipe, who was also his best friend, not being with him anymore, they've actually seen him interacting with players more and actually speaking English to them, opposed to always having the interpreter there and talking to them. And there was this moment that after he struck out, I think it was Friday night, he walks into the dugout and there was almost this like circling around him where you could tell the guys were asking him, hey, like, what did you see? Like, what's going on? And instead of, normally there would have been in the past as an interpreter there, like relaying the information, he is getting more comfortable just being himself with his teammates. And we even heard Dave Roberts say, it's like, yes, it's really unfortunate, but it's almost bringing the clubhouse closer together.
Yeah, he did talk about that direct line of communication. And when he said that, I said, wow, that's very powerful. It tells you a lot about what maybe wasn't happening. Not to his fault. It's just sometimes when you let go of that crutch, then you're forced to have it. Right, exactly. And maybe it's a blessing in disguise now. So hopefully that does work out for the Ball Club.
Yeah.
Yay. I want to get back to your predictions too, because I'm very excited. You just brought up somebody who eats, breathes, and dominates baseball right now, Mookie Betts. Yeah. Okay. Insane, I think was the word that was used. Like he's just playing. Yep. And we, again, spoiled. Jason brought it up. Dodger fans, so spoiled. Mm-hmm. You predicted, Alex Curry, that Mookie Betts will win the MVP. Do you still stand by that? I mean, it's almost like dumb for me to ask that, but I have.
I don't think she's going to retract after week one.
Yeah,
right?
No. I mean, my co-host Ben Verlander looked at me like I was crazy and is like, if Mookie puts up those numbers, I will eat my foot. Well, Ben, get ready to eat your foot because he is putting on the most insane start to the season. Now, you have to remember, Mookie Betts was the NL MVP runner-up last season.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Now he has another MVP on this lineup hitting directly behind him. And the thing about great players is when you're around other great players, it's only going to elevate your game because you want to keep, I don't want to say like outdoing yourself, but you motivate each other to keep on that same pace and keep going, which is pretty insane. I think I mentioned it off the top that Mookie Betts right now is leading all of Major League Baseball in batting average, home runs, hits, RBI, runs, walks. Like through the first 5 games, the fact that he had over 2,000 OPS and I think it was like 10 RBI, the only other player to have that stat in the first 5 games of the season was Barry Bonds. Like Mookie Betts is not going to put up Barry Bonds numbers, but if you're the only other player in that conversation, he's set up to have an incredible year.
Right. And this is while switching to shortstop, which is not an easy position to play. I mean,
Mookie can play anywhere. Mookie can, we've seen him outfield, second base, shortstop. I think it just adds to his greatness that he's not like your standard utility player, but he really is. He is your MVP all-star utility player that you could put anywhere if you need him to be there.
You know what I admire about what I admire about that though is the fact that I think a lot of people in any sport, if you were to move them around that much, I feel like it would affect you the way mentally you're approaching the game, and it could affect other parts of the game. But here's Mookie Betts, where we're moving this person from outfield to second to short. And the guy's killing it at the plate. I mean, it's not affecting him emotionally. He made an error the other day or something, and he went about it, and boom, he's back at it. That's incredibly impressive, isn't it? I mean, it really is. It tells you a lot about his mentality and approach to the game.
Yeah, and just his willingness to do whatever it takes to help the team and help them win. And you can really see that with everybody on this Dodgers roster. They just want to win. That was their pitch to Shohei Ohtani when he said what was the final reason he decided to come here is they want to win as much as I do. And he sat down with Mookie Betts and Freddie Freeman and Dave Roberts and everybody in that organization. And what they pitched him on is we will do whatever it takes to win. And they are. And you're seeing that right out of the gates.
And Alex, do you think everything we've said about Betts and everything he's done, not many players switch positions, especially going from the outfield to the infield and then going from second base to shortstop when they're 31 or 32 years old. Do you think we're kind of overlooking that? Do you think the casual fan is kind of overlooking what Betts is doing? Like, that's just not common.
I mean, it's interesting because we're seeing a kind of like a handful of top players do this right now, right? We saw Bryce Harper do this after he had Tommy John surgery, move from the outfield to first base. Now he's going to be full-time first base. And we saw Fernando Tatis Jr. move to the outfield and put up like Gold Glove caliber numbers. Like the thing about a great athlete is they're going to be able to figure it out and play anywhere. And if you have that mentality that you will do whatever it takes for the betterment of the team to win, that's what builds championship teams, is when it's not about me, it's about what this team needs to get to our ultimate goal, which should always be win a World Series.
Do you think, because you've been around this sport, you have personal relationships with these players, you've interviewed them over and over again. I know there are a lot of, there is some concern about Mookie in the postseason. Do you think adding Ohtani will elevate Mookie's play where we've not seen it go before as a Dodger?
I mean, I think we're already seeing it right now. I mean, this is the most insane start to a season that we have seen from Mookie Betts. And what's the change? You have Shohei Ohtani batting right behind you. As I said, I think great players only elevate other great players. And hopefully these are the missing pieces to help the Dodgers get over that playoff hump, because they are one of the best regular season teams over the last decade. But for some reason, the moment October hits, they can't figure it out. And so between the pitching that they added, Ohtani in the lineup batting behind Mookie Betts, I feel like this could be the missing piece to get them all the way to the finish line.
Guys, you agree?
I love everything that I'm hearing. Yeah.
Yes. Me too.
When I'm looking at your prediction list, obviously I think a hot pick this year was the Phillies. And a lot of people aren't overlooking the Diamondbacks anymore. Obviously Ohtani's a big piece, but what's the biggest X factor for the Dodgers? Because they don't care about the regular season now. It's once October hits, what's the biggest X factor for them?
You care about the regular season. Yeah. The biggest X factor is like, if you are getting that 1 or 2 seed and you're getting a bye during that wild card round, they need to figure out how to keep everybody in that regular season mentality. Because the other part too is like, when you're winning over 100 games, that means you're already punching your ticket to the postseason with 3 to 4 weeks left in the regular season. Yeah. So you're not really playing meaningful games a month before you get to the postseason. And as much as they say, no, it's the same, it's not. You're not fighting for your lives while you have these wildcard teams fighting to get into the postseason, then fighting to get through the postseason. And that's why you're seeing some of these teams, like the Phillies did a couple years ago, getting to the World Series, like you saw the Diamondbacks last year get to the World Series. When you are fighting for your life to get in, you continue that through the postseason. So the Dodgers need to figure out how to get that same dog mentality once they're in the postseason, once it hits October.
Yeah.
I just know that there are some people, like you just mentioned, Canelo, who really are just waiting for the postseason. But I like what you're saying, Alex. Let's just enjoy this ride. They are dominating. We have Ohtani. He hit his first home run finally, and it's a long season. So be prepared. The Dodgers will figure it out. I have faith in the suits. Do you, Jason? Are we good?
I like to be the Debbie Downer sometime on this show, Alex. So I'm gonna. So I have one concern, and I want to see what your thoughts on it, and that's between Gavin Lux, right? And so I think, and I think even the Dodgers are not exactly convinced that, obviously, that he's going to be your shortstop or even your second baseman, as we saw yesterday, right? Thank goodness we saw Rojas come back as a Dodger. He's still with us and is really contributing at a high level offensively too, which is great. So I'm wondering, do you think the Dodgers may also be a little? I don't want to use the word concern about with using Mookie Betts, because I personally think it's almost unfair to expect someone to have to play shortstop. I don't know. That's a very difficult position, right? But I'm wondering, because you saw him go to second, you saw Rojas at short. I think most of us will say Rojas is definitely defensively one of the best shortstops, I believe. I'd rather see Rojas. I know you're ready to jump in. I'd rather see Rojas at short and Betts at second. And I don't know where that leaves Gavin Lux. And it's a weird thing. I think that's going to be, for me, the storyline to watch. If the playoffs were tomorrow and I had one game to win, it would be Rojas at short, because Betts is still, let's call it what it is. He's not a shortstop, accustomed to being a shortstop. I want to know what your take is on that.
I think what you have to realize is you have options. And
right.
The fact that you have options and the fact that you have depth, you can't complain about that.
Yeah.
That's like a great problem to have. And come postseason, it's all going to come down to as well, like who's hitting well, who's hot at the plate. Because as great as your defense is, you got to drive in runs if you want to win a game. So I think the thing to focus on here is you have depth in the infield, which not a lot of teams can say. And so it's a good problem to have. And yeah, you're gonna see movement between those three guys throughout the season, and that's a good thing.
Yeah, agreed.
Okay, I think I want to end this Dodger talk right here on a high note. I want to dive into Alex's extraordinary career, and you're still killing it out there, and you're bringing baseball to fans, especially rabid fans like Dodger fans. And you've traveled all over the world. You've been to China. You've been to France. You've covered pretty much every sport. Is that safe to say? Every sport, yeah. And congratulations on such a successful career. I have a two-pronged question. Okay. I want to know, what's your most memorable, your favorite memory, if you will? I know it's probably tough, but what's the first thing that comes to mind when you're like, this is so cool, I'm doing this. This is why, I majored in journalism and went for sports?
Yeah, there's a couple. Yeah. I'll give you a few. I'll say my very first game that I was filling in sideline for the Angels. Like, I had never done a live Angels game, and it just so happened to be that game in May. Mike Trout hit for the cycle, and it was the only game that I was filling in for that year. And he hit his first cycle. And after that, I got like my full-time position as Angels sideline the year after. But it was just like such an insane first experience to be a part of. And then after that, I think 2014, the next year, was being a part of the Angels clinching the AL West. To be a part of that first real celebration was incredible. And then later on that year, I was sidelined for the Kings hockey, LA Kings, and I was with them when they won the Stanley Cup. And that was absolutely madness to just be a part of. That was my first championship run. So that kind of leads me to my next and really special moment. I was the U.S. embedded reporter for the Women's World Cup when they were in France, and I spent the whole year prior with them. So to be with them, to get to that back-to-back championship win in France with everything that was going on, to fight for women's sports and equal pay and all of the outside noise that was happening while they were going on, was a really pinch me magical moment to be representing the United States in another country and hearing the whole crowd just chant USA and being on the field and the first person to talk to everybody was really cool. It was really cool. I'll also say Albert Pujols' I think it was his 600th home run at Angel Stadium when he hit it in Grand Slam fashion. I was the first person to talk to him on the field live after, and we brought the fan over to give him his ball back, and he had no idea, and it was this really cool emotional moment.
It's just amazing. Just that's just a sprinkle of everything you've been able to cover. And I have to ask, in the industry, how is it that you are able to balance, because I can tell you're just a huge sports fan, probably because of your dad, I'm guessing. Is it because of your dad?
I grew up at Dodger Stadium. Yep. Right. Season tickets, whole life. I just actually posted a photo to my social media of my very first Dodger game that my dad shared with me. But I played every sport too. I was a big time athlete. Yeah.
But to balance that, because you're not supposed to cheer, and I can tell you are a sports fan at heart.
Oh yeah.
But you've done an amazing job of balancing that, right? I mean, that's one of the challenges of being a sports journalist.
I think that's what made me different, is like I showed emotion. I've always shown emotion. I've always shown excitement, because at the end of the day, like, sports are entertainment, right? Like, people are inviting you into their home. They are paying so much of their hard-earned money to come enjoy this game. why wouldn't you be excited too? It's going to be a better product if everybody is on that same page of like, oh my God, that was incredible what you just did. Like, take us into that moment. I like to think of myself as that kind of liaison when I was doing the sideline between the players and the fans. And I also want to make it the most memorable, great experience for everybody watching.
Amen. Gentlemen.
Well, you do an amazing job, Alex.
Right.
You really do a great job. Absolutely.
Appreciate that.
I know we're running out of time, but I'm going to follow up with that. What would you say is the biggest challenge for women who are still pursuing? I mean, you've inspired so many. I know you have. And what would you tell them now? I mean, I feel like it's gotten better, but it's not.
Oh, it's so much better from when I started. Yeah. Be the best at what you do. Like, don't take gender into consideration. But yes, as a woman, you're going to have to work twice as hard for half the opportunity. But if you show up so prepared and so confident and so sure in yourself and what you want to do, go for it. And don't be afraid to ask for what you want. Like you just got to do it. And you got to put in the time. You got to put in the work. There's no shortcut. There's no easy way to get there. But if you truly love what you do and you put in the work behind the scenes, it's going to work out.
Oh, I love it. I'm going to screenshot that one for sure and put that out there. Thank you so much for joining us. I know we're going to lose you now. We didn't get to ask you about tacos, but
tacos, Guisados.
Okay,
There's actually one over by Dodger Stadium on Sunset as you're driving up. If you get their chorizo quesadilla with the avocado, it is like I dream about that taco. Yes.
I love it. See, she was ready. She's prepared.
Yeah.
She knows her tacos. We love it. And it's on the way to Dodger Stadium. So thank you for that.
Of course.
Thank you once again, everybody. Make sure we follow you on the socials. I already do. Alex _Curry. Make sure you check her out on Saturdays, right? The Fox Sports Saturdays, and with your co-host, the podcast Flippin' Bats, which is always fun and interesting. How is it working with Mr. Verlander? It seems pretty wild.
It's great. It's great. It's just two people who love baseball and want to bring that fun atmosphere to the game. So that's what we try to do. That's what we try to do.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Alex.
Of course.
Please come back and visit us again, especially as we get closer to the end of the season.
Yeah. Thanks for having me, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here, Alex. Thanks.
Of course.
This episode has been brought to you by Bet Online. The game starts here.